Hey everybody, I'm Tim.
I'm Gail, and you are Chasing the Joneses.
On this episode, we are going to be talking about our 30 days being on the road full time.
It's actually been 30 days.
It's actually been 30 days. I can't even believe it. It's just been crazy stuff. But we wanted to come to you and we wanted to kind of tell you how it feels and what it's all like, what it's like, and and all that. So this take is going to be absolutely bloopers and all. We're not going to cut this at all. It's just going to be running straight through, so you can get kind of an idea. So we are full time. We live in a 35-foot Damon Challenger, and has a rear named Grace, and it has a rear bedroom and bathroom, which is why we have it, because we wanted a motorhome with a room for a bedroom. That was an important thing for us.
Instead of the one over on the side and the back.
Yeah. So anyway, so we've been traveling now. It's a 2002. We've been traveling now for 30 days, and it's been exciting. It's been really exciting.
It really has.
And so we have some questions we want to answer, so I'm going to end up reading off these questions, and we're going to answer these questions as we go along. All right?
Wait, hold on a second. Before you get to that, you guys, make sure that you like this video, because here's some stuff that we've learned. Every time you like or comment on our videos, it actually makes us more visible to other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to it, and then share it to your other social media, so that we can build up our followers. You know, we've got, are you going to talk about how many followers we have on Chasing the Joneses already?
Well, yeah, we can start there. You know, we started out and we started a Facebook page called Facebook group called Chasing the Joneses, and
that's who you are,
and everybody else. And so that started out with just a very few people, and then before we left, we were like in a week of full time, and our goal was 500 followers on that Facebook group. And today we have it slowed down a little bit, but today we have about 520. And so, which is really
awesome.
Fantastic for us. We're really excited about that. And then our YouTube page is constantly gaining more and more subscribers. And so, if you have yet to subscribe to those things, please do check on it.
And then click the notification bell.
Right. Yeah. And so, as soon as we figure out how to put a notification bell right there, you'll be able to hit it. Right?
It's right. Or it's there. I can't. It depends on if it's flipped or not.
Maybe it's right there.
Okay. Anyway, do that.
Anyway, so we got a couple questions we just want to answer for you guys. So I'm going to ask the questions, and I'm going to let Miss Gail go ahead and go first about these things. So then I'll chime in on my thing. So first of all, how do you like being full time?
I love being full time. It's funny because when we first talked about it, you had asked if I would like, how do we know we'd like it? I said, well, I already know I like it. I know I love it. And I knew that in advance because of who we are.
Right.
You know, we were already kind of nomadic people. We have moved to different places, and each time we've moved, it wasn't so much about us, but just following God's will and His lead.
Right.
And so I knew that it would be good. You said years ago I could move in a phone booth and I'd make it work, and so this is like a really great phone booth.
Big phone booth.
Huge.
Yeah. I like being full time so far. I think that we're having a good time. You know, we have prepared for this for a while now. I mean, we watch videos after videos after. We still watch them. We start with videos after videos about van life, and I just was like, van life is not for me. If I'm going to go on the road, I got to have a bathroom. We got to have a bedroom. And so we looked at trailers. We looked at we had a smaller.
We had a little bitty trailer.
We had a trailer. Very small trailer.
Our
for a short time. Then we had Harvey, which was a 23-foot Class C. It was a 1997. And so 89. I did some 89?
89. Yeah.
Wow.
He was old. But he was adorable. Yeah.
And so we sold that and we bought this one.
Right.
And so far we've just been loving it. and enjoying our time away from the rat race, if you will, of everything else that's going on. And so we love being full time. It's really fantastic. Second question: how was the process of preparing everything to hit the road? How was that process?
The process was difficult in that we had a plan, and then the what, and years from now people will say what if they're watching this. So there was this virus that hit in 2020, and it turned into a global pandemic. And once it hit, now people watching this years from now will say, oh, that was nothing. Well, we thought it was, and everything was shut down. And so though we had this timeline planned, May 17th we were going to have this huge garage sale and event to raise money for the ministry and to get rid of all of our stuff, we couldn't do that. Not only could we not have the garage sale because everything was banned, we also couldn't give everything away because all of the secondhand stores and VA place and all those were closed as well. So we ended up having to pack, which was not our plan. So we had to pack up all of the things that we were not going to take with us, and then we had to put those in storage. Thank the Lord we were able to store them in a room at our church. Otherwise that would have really significantly added to our costs, our expenses. And then the other thing was when we realized that just because you still had space in the RV doesn't mean you can keep filling it with stuff. Because when we realized there actually is a weight limit, and we were within 20 pounds of the weight limit, and I wasn't in the in Grace when it actually was weighed. So and there was no extra like water or anything in there yet. So that was the hardest thing.
So I think that for me, it was very, very hard because, like she said, we had plans on how we were going to do everything. Mm-hmm. We had everything just planned out. And of course, our plans don't mean nothing. Right. I mean, really they don't. And so we kind of took it with, a hit upon the chin, and we tried to just keep on moving. But the difficulty was we were just going to take everything from our house, put it in the yard, sell it as much as we could, and then ship the rest off to get rid of. And in fact, we had to pack everything in boxes, and then we had to transport it to the place. And it was just, for me, it was a really high stress thing. However, we did sell quite a few items. Right. And to a lot of our friends, our furniture, our van, a lot of stuff we were able to sell. And so it really helped us out in the long run, because I would just post a picture on Facebook and boom, that thing would be sold. And so it was really, that was good. That part of it was really, really good. Right. However, the packing process and, because we had a timeline, I quit pastoring the church. And so my timeline was very thin, and we had to be out of the house so that the new pastor could go in. So it was a very difficult timeline that we were dealing with, and COVID was just not in our spectrum at all. So
you know what?
Yeah, she says you know what? I just say whatever.
I don't like the word.
So anyway, so the process was difficult. And it was hard as we were preparing to hit the road. Yeah. Now, as we've been going, we have actually traveled 1,765 miles in 30 days. You may be thinking, "Oh, wow, that is huge." Well, there's reasons for that, right?
Part of it was the what.
Right. It stopped us from going to where we wanted to go, to where we were supposed to be. So we changed our plans. Right. And we drove to
South Dakota,
right?
Yes.
And what do we do in South Dakota?
In South Dakota, we got our official address. We are now residents of Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Yes. And
we have an awesome governor. And then we went and stayed at a campground in Brookings, South Dakota, and we just really enjoyed that place. And there we stayed there because you had to make an appointment because of you had to make an appointment to get your driver's license. And so we stayed there, and then we were able to go to their local driver's license bureau. And then we went back down to Sioux Falls once the county opened up so that we could register our vehicles.
Right, and which is really important. And I'll probably do a video on this sometime later about why we chose South Dakota. South Dakota is very RV friendly for full-timing RV people. And so, but I'll probably do a video on that. But the important thing was we drove from Michigan all the way to South Dakota, and then we turned around and drove back. And on the way, we stopped at a couple different places. One was Gary, Indiana. Another was a Walmart. Was it a Walmart?
Camp Walmart.
Camp Walmart. We did our first Camp Walmart.
And it was fine.
And it was fine. It was fine. I walked in and said, "Can we park here?" And they said, "Yes." I said, "In anywhere." And the lady joked with me, and we joked, and we decided to park on the side, and we parked over there. And as soon as we parked on the side, a semi truck pulled right up next to us, and he parked for the night. So
that made
so
me feel
it was
pretty
really
cool.
so it was really something. So but anyway, so we drove 1,765 miles, and so out of those places that we have traveled in the last 30 days, because we traveled a lot. I mean, where was your favorite place?
I got two.
You can only have one, because I have one, and I'm hoping that mine isn't yours and yours isn't mine.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with my first one, and then if yours isn't mine, then I'm going to say that one too.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one is this store called Quick Trip, but not Quick Trip like we knew back home in Missouri. That's the Q Quick Trip. This is a K Quick Trip. And the reason is because you could go in there and you could get these amazing blended coffees like you would get at like a Starbucksy kind of place, and they were custom ground and blended, and it was the cost of just a regular iced coffee, and that was amazing. And I never would have known it except for there.
Right. And this is why we're not going to cut this, because that was actually a blooper. She didn't know it. What I meant was where we stayed at. What was the favorite place that we stayed?
Okay, but I was dead serious.
I know. I know you were.
Yeah.
That was a great place that we went to, Quick Trip, right? I got
you. Right.
And all the coffee and all that stuff. Yeah, it's a very nice place. And,
now you can do yours.
But what I'm saying is where was your favorite place to stay? My favorite place that we stayed at, it's a toss-up, but I think my favorite place that we stayed at was Brookings, South Dakota.
Okay, then I
think
still do that.
I think that it was just.
It was nice.
It was a very small park. There were only a couple people in the park. It wasn't a full hookup. However, it was electric and gas. I mean, electric and water.
Right.
And you just had to move around and just go to the dump site and dump. Right. But we conserved water while we were there, and we didn't have to dump until we were leaving. And but it was such a quiet place, a quiet town, and we stayed on the unbusy side, where the busy side, we learned later on, was on the other side. But even we noticed that even the dogs were nice there, and I say that, you may be thinking that's a joke, but it's really not. I mean, there were big dogs just laying in the yard and not chained up, and we would see one and we'd go, uh-oh. And then they just look up and maybe wag their tail once or twice, but lay right on back down. And the only time that we had a dog bark at us while we were there was when they were driving in a car. And it came by and it barked at us. And so, but Brookings, South Dakota was probably my favorite place to be. And
we walked everywhere and looked at gorgeous old houses that were rehabbed.
Beautiful old houses. Yeah. So what about yours?
Okay, so then my favorite place to stay was Cedar Lake.
Yes, that was a fantastic place too. And so I was torn between the two.
Okay. Cedar Lake Retreat Center and Campground is a historic place because for over 100 years it's been the site of Christian camp meeting type things, and now it's it's more modern now, and it's where kids go for big retreats, and you can go out for like women and men's retreats and all that. Of course, because of they have taken a huge hit. They're not doing any of their big retreats and conferences and stuff this year. So be in prayer for them. But it was perfect for us because it was the closest campground to where my brother was staying. And my brother is currently still in hospice. Now, when we look back at this later, it's going to be really cool because we know that he's about to transition to rehab. Anyway, so it was just perfect that they had openings and they were that close to him. And again, it was a gorgeous, peaceful place.
It was. It really was,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed it. And again, it was a small RV park.
Yeah.
And we are in a very large RV park right now.
Yeah.
And it's neat and all that, but I found myself really liking the smaller RV parks. And so so far. So
when we say small, Brookings only had about 20 or so slots?
Brookings only had 23, I think,
Okay.
and then the other place Cedar Lake had 34, 35.
Yeah, 34, 35, something
And
like that. So we mean really small.
Yeah, really small.
Yeah.
And so
but everyone had a huge space, and in both of those places, everywhere you went, people were waving, and if you said hi, they'd pause and actually have a conversation with you. They were just, everybody was just so friendly and chill.
So I think that we will go back to those places again because of just the way they were, and we connected with certain people in different places too.
Right.
So and I will tell you that they don't call it the DMV in Brookings, but the DMV where you get your license and your license plates and all that, man, was fantastic.
Even they were amazingly kind, both when we got our driver's license and when we got our plates. They were just patient and kind and friendly and stuff.
So those are our two best places that we like. And so now I'm going to ask this question. What is the best thing that happened for you over the last 30 days?
Being able to spend extra time with my husband. Can I pick another one too?
Yeah, let's pick another one.
Because that was number one.
Yeah.
Okay. I think because what it did was set us up for how even though we have plans, that God has other plans, and it was just really confirmation that we can trust in His plans over our own, because really, really cool things will happen.
Sure.
And so for me, my favorite thing was when we met Tony Shutt in line to get our license plates when we were registering our vehicle.
Yeah, when we were registering our vehicle.
Yeah.
There was a lady in front of us who had a major back problem, and she was on a cane, I think.
Yeah, she had her cane. She
and
didn't have her
didn't
walker.
have her walker. And so we were standing in this long line, and she was right in front of us, and we got closer to the door, and people urged her to go sit and go through the handicap. And she says, nope, I'm going to stick right here. I'm going to do it. And then we got to close to the door, and she said something to the effect of, my meter's going to run out. And of course, you know me, I'm just like, okay, well, tell me where your car is, I'll go throw some money in it. And so I just had a few coins in my pocket, and the lady behind us heard, and so she chipped in a couple quarters, and so I went and put the money in, and then Gail started talking to her, and we talked to her all the way through.
Well, I had been talking since way before you got there. We were friends by the time you got there, because we were women.
So after that, she quickly joined our Facebook group, Chasing the Joneses, and it's been a blessing ever since.
Right. And she's already even told other people, so we have 2 people in South Dakota now, and we wouldn't have met her if it weren't for the you-know-what and the way that all of those things happened to get us there. We couldn't get our plates the first day we went because the computers were down, and so we had to come back the next week, and so all of that.
So I think the best thing that happened for me,
you gotta say being with me.
Oh, is being with my wife.
Aw, thank you.
Okay. But the other best thing that happened, I think, was just learning to drive this rig, because you know, and enjoying driving it, you know, and understanding it, and you know, when semis come by and pass and all that other stuff. And when I was in the Army, I drove these big monster tank like things, and so if something drove by it, it didn't move.
Right,
So,
right. You were the one making things
right.
suck out and suck in.
And so I enjoy driving things that are big like this. I really do it. And so I like making sure my turns are right and all that. So I think that's probably the best thing. But now I want to move on because, you know, there's always good things and there's always bad things that are in there. So what is the worst thing that you think happened during our first 30 days? What's the worst thing?
You have to go first because I don't
Okay,
know
my
yet.
first thing is this. We had prepared everything to get ready for going full time.
We thought.
And so as soon as we got everything, we got our tow stuff all together, all that, we were coming back, we were making sure that that our Jeep was going to be able to be towed, and sure enough, that thing broke down. And that thing is still broke down. We're trying to get it fixed. Hopefully we'll have it fixed by the beginning of next week, and I can go back and pick it up and we can get it, hook it up and tow it. But it provides difficulty when you know you don't plan for things, especially when you're starting out.
Right.
You may plan for the used coach to go bad, but you're not planning for your car to go bad. And our
when
car
it's been
just,
fine, there's been no
been
problem.
fine all these years we've owned it. We've owned it for what, 4.5, 5 years, no problems whatsoever. And then just now. And so that's been the difficult part of it, because not having a car, but in the same resolve, there's a positive thing about it too, is that we were actually walking everywhere.
Right.
And so we're in a place now where we can't actually walk everywhere, but we're going to need a car, so we're going to try and rent a car.
Right.
And but anyway, that's the hard. I think that's the hard thing that we had to deal with. So. Yeah. So worst thing for you.
I got mine. The hardest thing is trying to just discern is the word. Discern what we really need to keep and what things we're still holding on to and we don't need. Because when you're in an RV, everything has to have at least 2 functions probably, and everything has to have a place. And so we're still in a position where we're trying to shuffle things around to figure out where's the best place for it to go. When we're sitting somewhere and we've got the slide out, and where is it going to go when we move the slide in and we're driving. So things have to have a place to go. So just trying to figure out where to put things so each thing has a home. It's not, so it isn't worst. It's just that's my struggle. And then working on just my daily schedule, because when we were living in sticks and bricks and we were next door to our church, I knew what my schedule was, and so right now I'm still trying to figure that out. So it's not really a worst, it's just those are my two challenges.
Those are the 2 challenges.
But I've loved every single thing, because I mean everything that like you were talking about not having a car, but that opened up so much for us, because we walked for miles and miles and we looked at these gorgeous houses and took pictures, and and we discovered the best place to get burgers and the best ice cream and things like that. So
that we normally would not have done if we probably had a car. We just probably go to a restaurant.
We ordered the most disgusting pizza ever.
Oh yeah, that was terrible.
Right?
Yeah. And so the other last thing I will say is that not having bikes has been a problem.
Right.
That's
my worst.
That's a difficult. And we can't find any bikes
because of you know what? Everybody and their mama has a bike now, except us.
The stores just don't have bikes. And so
and we had given ours away. He'd given one to a waitress, and I gave one to a single mom, mine away to a single mom. And so, so we thought, we'll just pick up new ones on the road. Not so easy.
And I think there's another great thing that you may like is the ice maker.
I hate my ice maker, said no one ever. Yes,
that's right. We got this little handy dandy ice maker, and man, this thing puts out ice like crazy.
But again, it needs a home. So,
and so we still got to figure that out. And so we're still learning on all those things. But the last 30 days overall have been fantastic. been really amazing. You know, so we've been by ourselves for so long now that it's easy to be by ourselves, and so so it's not, there's no issues
True.
there, right? In fact, I think it's even better because there's not a bigger space that we have to pick up and all this other stuff.
Right.
We just have to know where we're going, where we're getting there, and how we're going to do that. And so really, this last 30 days has been wonderful. Even though we traveled a lot to get to where we are, that you know, and we also found out that the shorter distance you go, the harder the trip is for some strange, weird reason. This trip we just got here, it was only less than 150 miles, and yet it took us all day long to get here.
We kept making stops.
We kept making stops because we thought we had all this time.
Right.
Anyway,
but by the time we got here, we were tired. Yeah.
But the last 30 days have been, overall, it's been amazing. And would we do it again if we had ever stopped? Yes, I think we would. And it's
in fact,
just been
there's
great.
times I was wishing that we had done it sooner, even if it was just living in the in the church parking lot. So
anyway, so that's our story, and we're sticking to it.
Yeah.
And that's the first 30 days, and we'll probably do another video coming up. Just remember to subscribe, hit the bell notification so that anytime that we post a video, you'll receive the notification and you can check that out. We got a couple ones that I'm working on right now already about installing stuff and doing different things, and so you're sure to enjoy those. Anyway, I'm Tim.
And I'm Gail.
And you're chasing the
Joneses. We'll see y'all down the road. Bye.